But before I get into that, let me know in the comment section below which character from Gravity Falls do you think will die in the grand finale. With the next episode being the final episodes of Gravity Falls ever, the grand finale really has me thinking, who will die in that climactic series finale? And yes, for those of you who don't know, Gravity Falls is concluding after this episode. It will not be returning for a third season. Now before I get into that, let's have some background information. Alex Hirsch, the creator of Gravity Falls, tweeted that a character will not make it out alive. This doesn't confirm whether or not it's a major or minor character. Mind you, this was tweeted before the confirmation that the series was coming to an end. This is very important. Before that announcement, people believed that a minor character might die because it wouldn't matter as much if there was a third season. Mind you, now that we know a third season isn't happening, Alex Hirsch can create a conclusion so drastic it could literally break the internet. What I'm trying to say is, if that character hasn't died yet, I think it's fair game for all of the protagonists. I think it's possible for Dipper, Mabel, Stan, Zeus, Wendy, or Ford to be the ones who go. These are the main cast of characters, and by the end of Gravity Falls, one of them is not walking out alive. Now let's start with Dipper. A lot of people right off the bat are already saying, you can't kill the main protagonist. Well, that would be true if the show was continuing. A lot of movies and television series usually conclude with the main protagonist doing something heroic to save the day one final time. And that's no different with Dipper. He's the more mature of the twins, and he's added his own writings inside the journal. If Dipper did die, it would completely destroy the internet. Not only because it's the main protagonist of the series, but because it's the main protagonist of a Disney TV series. Gravity Falls has been a show to change how mature audiences view child programming forever, showing that children's shows can have a mature theme and complex storylines. With Dipper passing, it makes that statement even more apparent. But Dipper can't die, he's writing in the journals. While yes, that is true, and for those of you who don't know, Journal 3, called Dipper's Journal, is a physical journal going on sale in 2016. Inside Dipper's journal are the mystery of the writers of the journal and the truth about Bill's cipher. This is the journal shown in the show. Not a future story of Gravity Falls. This is also very important. It's very possible for Dipper to die and this journal still arrive on store shelves and still be canon. And even if we are to get more stories with Dipper, Mabel, and Stan, like the original Tumblr post posted by the creator himself, it could be stories that take place during the summer that weren't shown in the series. I highly doubt that it would take place afterwards, considering Dipper and Mabel would be heading home, considering it's after summer vacation. And lastly, the whole themes of growing up being present in the show ending in these final episodes, wouldn't it just break your heart if Mabel loses the last thing that made her feel like a kid again when growing up? And lastly, the whole themes of growing up being present with the show ending in these final episodes, wouldn't it just break your heart if Mabel loses the last thing that made her feel like a kid again? Her own twin brother? But who knows, maybe I'm just really dark. Next up is Mabel. Mabel suffers from the same thing Dipper does, being a main protagonist. While having less reasons than Dipper, it's still all fair game. She's the most pure of heart from the main cast. Maybe the goodness in her heart finds a way to stop Bill, or overall she sacrifices herself for her brother. But I think Mabel dying is a little bit unlikely, especially with Weirdmageddon Part 2 really developing her character. Mabel is finally ready to start growing up, but maybe that's exactly what that episode was trying to do, build Mabel up to bring her right back down. But who knows? Next up is Stan Pines. Stan being the comical uncle who watches after the Pine twins, bringing his brother back from another dimension using the journals, having a large criminal record, and overall being a con artist. This character has really come near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. Is Alex Hirsch really gonna take him away from us? Well, starters, he isn't Dipper or Mabel, he's more of a supporting character. Which means if he dies, while it is tragic, it isn't compared to if one of the kids died. Stan has so much love for the kids. I believe he would do anything to protect them. And if something ends up putting the kids in danger, I'm sure without a doubt he will step in to protect them. And since Stan has been there from the very beginning, it would really make an impact. Next up is Wendy. Now Wendy is personally my favorite character in the series, and she does play a big role. She's Dipper's love interest, and she's overall a fun and really kick-ass character. She's led the gang into adventures without fear and has left a strong mark on many fans, including myself. I hope she doesn't die, but I can see it happening. We really don't know much about Wendy or her background. All we know is that she works at the Mystery Shack. Killing her off would suck, but it's something that would leave an impact, but not one so grave that the fandom would just light a fire under everything. And then there's Zeus. Apparently the show has been hinting at Zeus dying over and over again. Even the advertisements for Disney XD have him saying he's almost gotten run over, crushed, and fallen to his death, and so many other things. Like, Zeus is a character that the show has hinted at dying for a very long time. And with Weirdmageddon Part 2 showing us his father, even though he wasn't real, it does give a semi-decent conclusion to his character, considering that was the only question we really had about Zeus. But myself personally, I think it's a little too easy to kill Zeus. While a lot of people would be pissed, he would probably be the easiest to let go. I believe Alex Hirsch is a little bit more cynical than that. And lastly, Ford Pines, the author of the journals. Well, first off, he's currently in a stone statue in the grafts with Bill's cipher, and Bill is planning to unfreeze him so that he can get rid of the barrier around Gravity Falls so he can take over the world. This is a perfect setup to let him go. He refuses to help Bill. Bill threatens him and his family. Ford agrees to help him if he spares his family. Boom, done, rest in peace, Ford. Still, I still think that's a little bit too easy, especially since Ford has been on the show the least. We'll see what happens at the end in 2016. As for my closing statements, this was the translated version of the code on the end card of Weirdmageddon Part 1. Game is over and I have won. Now it's time to start the fun. I always love corrupting lives. Now let's see which Pine survives. Does this hint at a Pines dying? Making it either Dipper, Mabel, Ford, or Stan? We'll see. But let me know who you think will die in the comment section below, and please leave a thumbs up for the video. Really